All right, brothers, man, we rocking and rolling, man, peeling back another layer to establishing a strong, positive relationship with our children for the father within class. I appreciate y'all getting up, man, on a Saturday, man. That's what it is. This is grind time. These are the times when it's grind time for real. This is when we are making our declaration that say, man, I want it bad, man. This is the time right here on a Saturday. Is when you are making your declaration out there into the universe like, man, I want it bad. And I'm going to show you that I want it bad by what I'm bringing to the table, man. That's what it's all about. That's why I just love Saturdays, man, because you really you gotta sacrifice on a Saturday, especially out here too as well. It's like, I got to cut my Friday night short because I got to get up 6 o'clock to make it here by 9:30, man. So I'm like, man, you know what? Hey, let's rock and roll, man. So then when I do that stuff, I'll be like, man, I want this stuff bad, man. I want to see the penitentiary on his head bad, man. Like, dead serious, man. I want that stuff bad, man. I want to see the community on his feet bad, man. I can't even explain how bad I want this, man. That's why I'll bring it like I bring it. That's why I'm willing to do whatever, man, because I want it so bad. And you can tell I want it bad by what I bring to the table. I want to be an effective father bad, man. That's why I do what I do. The more that I teach these parenting classes, the better father that I become, right? Because I want it bad, man. I want it bad, man. You can tell what you want, man, by what you do. See, sometimes people just kind of want it, and you can tell that they kind of want it, man, by what they do. But the people who really want it, you can tell it, man, by what they are willing to do. You know what I'm saying? It's not about what you're willing to say. Because we can say all things, right? It doesn't take much energy to say, does it? We can just say it. We can say, man, yeah, I'm going to do this, right? But when that mood changes, you might not get that done, right? What matters is about what you do. Don't be no talker. We got to be a doer. And when we are doers, then we get the chance to see fruits that people who are not doers get a chance to see. The talkers don't get a chance to see the same fruits as the doers. I'm just saying, though, in any section in any section of your life, when you have looked back at it and said, man, you know what? Who was the ones that were most effective? Was it the talkers or the doers? It was always the doers who were most effective, because that's just the way that it is. I can go to the ground all day long and say, man, I want some crops, man. I'm hungry. Please give me some crops. Please give me something to eat. Ground, and the ground is not going to respond by me just coming to it and saying, please give me some crops. I'm hungry. Please feed me. The ground is not going to respond to me coming to it with my wants and my needs. Only way that the ground is going to respond is how?
Plant that seed and do that work.
I gotta plant the seed. I gotta put the seed inside of the ground for it to be able to produce the crops. If I don't put the seed inside of the ground, then it will not produce the crops. Man, this is just what it is, man. I don't care how mad I get at the ground. It's not going to produce the crops. Because sometimes people get mad because their life is like it is, and they think by them getting mad is going to change it. Only thing that's going to change it is by what we do. Change, life change for my favor. Change, life change for my favor. And your life will continue to say, ha, 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 ha. Got him. He actually thinks it's going to change because he's getting mad. Get madder, get more angrier. It's still not going to change. The only way that your life is going to change is when you say, man, you know what? I'm about to put some action to it. I'm about to start to change the habits in my life. That's what it's about. Change your habits and start to replace your bad habits with some good habits, and guess how your life will start to turn out?
Good.
It's going to turn out good. I'm going to start to make it a habit to get in real conversations with people who talking about real stuff. I'm going to get into that habit, right? I'm going to get into the habit of starting to shut down conversations when they are not fruitful. I'm going to get into that habit. Somebody, people going to come to you with unfruitful conversations talking about nothing. They just running their mouth. They just running their mouth because they got lips right, and they just talking about nothing. You like, man, this stuff is not feeding me. I'm going to shut it down. I'm going to get into the habit of shutting down dead conversations. Because while I'm sitting up here having a dead conversation, that is time that I am investing into a dead conversation. And time is my most valuable asset. And when I'm wasting and squandering my most valuable asset, how can I be successful? I want to be in good places. And the only way that I'm going to be in good places is if I take care of that which I have of value. And time is valuable. I can't sit up here in dead conversations just because. You can't get your time back. Your time is gone. Once you go ahead and do what you did with yesterday is not coming back today. It's that valuable. Time is as valuable as we are. Because just like time can't be duplicated, we cannot be duplicated. Our left side is different from our right side. All of the fingerprints on our hands are different. We are a one-on-one. Your DNA is restricted to just you. It has not been a DNA like you before you. It will not be a DNA like you after you. Brother, you are a one-on-one. It's 7.6 billion people that's in the world right now, and nobody has your same fingerprint. Not even you have your same fingerprint, because all of the fingerprints on your hands are different. It's never been a fingerprint like yours before you. It has never been a fingerprint like yours after you. Brother, you are one-on-one. That means that you are valuable and you can't be duplicated. And that's 7.6 billion people that's in the world right now. Just think about all of the people that has been in the world. And you mean to tell me that nobody has your same fingerprint ever had your same DNA? How valuable can you be when you have never been duplicated? Well, guess what? Time cannot be duplicated either. So if time can't be duplicated like I can't be duplicated, I got to protect my time. I got to protect myself. I got to invest my time. I got to invest myself into myself. And what took my value up to a whole nother notch? Because I'm responsible for the development of an 101 as well of another individual. So now I'm responsible for developing a child who also has come into this world as a 101 and can't be duplicated. So that's why we're doing what we're doing with establishing a strong, positive relationship with our children, because we say that, man, we want to be those fathers that are influential in our children's lives, because we don't want our children to end up any old where because of our neglect. Because we took the low road instead of taking the high road, because we did what was easy instead of doing what was hard, and then our life will be easy instead of doing what's easy and then our life turning out hard. It's easy to just stay in the bed. It's more difficult to get up and say, man, let me go ahead and get out of bed because it's comfortable right now while I'm in bed. But it's more difficult to say, man, you know what? I said that I'm going to come to class, I'm going to class.
That's right.
The people who do the hard, their life turns out easy, but the people who take the easy, their life turn out hard. It's so dang on hard because you got to stand for count, because other people is going to regulate you. People are going to tell you what they believe that you should have. People are going to tell you what they believe that you should be doing. You will have to drive what other people want you to drive. You will have to stay where other people want you to stay. You will have to do what other people are telling you to do. Why? Because you said, I'm going to take the easy right now, and I'm going to pay for me taking the easy right now later on in my life by having to settle for the hard. It's easy to go ahead and get missing out of my children's life right now. It's easy to go ahead and skip my responsibilities right now, but it'll be more difficult later on. When you got to visit them.
I ain't going to see you.
Oh my. When you got to visit them in the joint somewhere, or you got to go ahead and put them into the ground because of who they have become, because of the society who has developed them to be all crazy. So we do what is hard right now, so our life will be easy. And guess what I've realized? This is the beauty in it all. We can make that decision right now, and then the trajectory of our lives will change by us making that decision right now. So we can say, man, hey, man, my life has been hard all the way up until now because I've been doing what was easy. Well, guess what? We can say, well, it stops right now. Because if it's been hard all the way up until now, I'm not about to go ahead and punch my clock and allow my life to continue to be hard because of my decision to continue to do the easy. If me doing the easy has not worked up until now I'm going to start doing what is hard. Brother, this stuff is hard. It's challenging. But we do it hard, though. We do the hard, though. That's the difference, man. It was hard me being inside of the joint. Man, I stopped cussing inside of the penitentiary, brothers. I said, man, I'm coming against my language. Like, I'm going to stop cussing. I ain't cussing no more. I'm separating from everything that I was promoting before I got incarcerated because I don't want to get reincarcerated. So I'm going to stop cussing. Tongue is the smallest muscle in the body, but it's the hardest to control. And if I can control my tongue, then surely I can control my life. And I need to get control of my life because I don't want everybody else to have control of my life. So I said, man, I'm going to start with my language. I'm going to start with my tongue. I'm going to control my words because life is in your word. So if I speak life, then I'm going to be living. If I speak death, then I'm going to die. So I'm going to make sure that I'm speaking life. So I said, man, you know what? I'm going to stop cussing. One of the reasons why I say I'm going to stop cussing is because I don't want my son to be cussing. If I'm telling my son that I don't want him to be cussing, how am I going to be cussing and telling him not to cuss? So I just wanted to be what I'm demanding of my children. I didn't want to demand something of my children that I am not. I'm not going to tell my children, go be great, and I'm sitting up here mediocre. It makes no sense. My message will be received when I am doing what I am asking from my children. If I'm demanding this from my children, then I got to demand it of myself.
Yes, yes, yes.
The nerve of people to demand stuff of other people that they're not demanding of themselves. People will demand stuff from you that they're not even demanding of themselves. People will demand you to be perfect and they're not perfect. People will demand you not to make no errors and they have made errors. That is crazy. I don't want to be that type of individual that is demanding something of somebody else that I'm not demanding of myself. That just seems foolish to me. And it seems like when you do that, people will see that they will turn, as soon as you turn your back, they'll be like that joker full of jokes, man. Ain't nobody listening to that joker. Because he's saying this, but he's doing that. And what he is doing, it contradicts what he is saying. I want my words, my thoughts, and my actions to integrate. I want them to be one. I don't want my thoughts to be this way, and my words to be that way, and my actions to be something totally different. That is a schizophrenic. I don't want to be that. I want to be one with my words, my thoughts, and my actions. And that's what made me say, man, I'm about to change up. Because I said that, you know what, I'm not the individual that does not care, so why would I be out here acting like I don't care? I'm not that individual that says it doesn't matter, so why would I sit up here and act like it doesn't matter? Man, this stuff matters. So I'm okay with saying, man, it matters. No, brother, I ain't about to get into the middle of the dang on street with you and get bloody, brother. I'm going to try to avoid conflict. I'm going to try to resolve conflict in the righteous way. I'm not about to sit up here and get bloody with you, brother, unless you're trying to harm me and take my life or harm the lives of my family. That's the only way that you're going to activate these dang on guns. You're not about to activate these guns, man, with your words. Resolve conflict, right? That's what it is, man. But this is what it's all about, man. And becoming the fathers that we need to be, we got to establish that relationship, because one thing that we understood is that we want our children to get that information from us. You said something powerful yesterday. You said that, man, you know what? Hey, I'm telling my daughters, man, you know what? Hey, on 30, it's a pothole on there on 13. Before you get on 13, you want to swerve to the left, because you're going to go ahead and blow out your tires when you hit that pothole. I know, because it's been there for all of my time. And matter of fact, I blew out my tires a couple of times, man, hitting that pothole. You don't want her to be driving and la da 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 da, and she hit the same pothole that you have already hit. We want our children to experience new failures, not our same failures. We don't want our children on the side of the road hitting the potholes that we have already hit. Either we done covered them up, or we done gave them the knowledge so then they can dodge those potholes. And that's what it's all about. The only way that they can receive that knowledge is if we establish that strong, positive relationship with them, because that's what gives us the ability to be able to transfer the information. If we don't have that strong, positive relationship with our children, it will be a barrier between us and them. And that's what puts our children at a disadvantage, because they will be operating on their own information. The information of their peers, the information of society.
Another one I tell them is don't sell the farm before you pick the crop.
Ain't no doubt, man. Ain't no doubt, man. Ain't no doubt. And all of that is giving them a way to be. Because you got their best interests at hand. Who's going to have their best interests at hand better than you?
Nobody.
Right.
Nobody.
That's why we doing this, fellas. That's why we coming to these classes. We ain't coming to these classes to be entertained. We coming to these classes to learn. Because we saying that our children matter. And I don't want my children to be at a disadvantage. I don't want my children to be adults. And when they be adults, they say, man, hold up. Man, Dad has given me a tool belt, but there's no tools inside of my tool belt to be able to operate life with. My tool belt is bare. I'm trying to unscrew a Phillips head screw with a butter knife. This is all my dad gave me. And I see my counterparts over there unscrewing their screws real fast. They got drills and everything. They got the right bits and everything. They're doing their thing and they're putting things together. They're tearing things down. And I'm over here struggling because my father gave me a butter knife to go at life with.
Talk to him.
Do you want to have that conversation with your child coming to you and saying, Dad, I've been out here struggling and I've seen other people around me breaking stuff down, putting stuff up, building things, and I can't build because I don't have the right tools. Everybody else has the right tools. Now I got to go out there into the world and try to figure out who can provide me the tools that I need to have to go at life with, because the tools that you gave me, they are not working. Wow, man, that's some heavy duty stuff, man. I don't know about y'all brothers, man. I don't want to have that conversation. I don't want to have that conversation. And the only way that we're going to prevent that conversation from being had is if we learn and we get the information and we establish the relationships with our children. But we got to be intentional and focused, intentional and deliberate on establishing that strong, positive relationship in order to be able to get it done. And that's what the class is about. So then that's why we go ahead and listen to these messages. We ponder on these messages, and then we go ahead and come back again, listen to them again, ponder on them, have a conversation about them, right? And then this is how we lock it in. And then we apply it. Knowledge without application is just knowledge. We want to apply the knowledge.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, sir.
And then that's when we'll be able to get the fruits that we are looking for once we apply the knowledge. Application, but we got to get that understanding. So then that's why we come in here with the intent to understand, with the intent to learn. I can hoop and holler all day long, but it's still on you to learn. I can say this stuff all day long. It's still on you to learn. I can't do it for you. That's why I always tell people, man, wherever you get at in life, brother, that's you. You ain't got to look back at me and say, Carlos, I owe you, because you don't owe me nothing. You the one that got to apply it, because I'm continuing to apply this stuff to my life. I'm continuing to do the work on my life. I just give you the tools to do the work on your life. You the one that's got to use the tools, so you don't owe me nothing, brothers. Y'all can go ahead and become multi-billionaires. And I'm not going to come to you and say, remember in the CAC? Brother, you owe me.
That's right.
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink it.
Brothers, y'all don't owe me nothing. Don't nobody owe me nothing.
That's right.
And guess what? I don't owe nobody nothing. And that's a beautiful place to be.
Yeah.
Brothers, you don't owe nobody nothing. So be the best that you can be. You ain't got to be obligated. I remember people felt like that they got to be obligated to the hood. Man, I'm not obligated to the hood. I'm obligated to who I need to become. Because when I become who I need to become, then everybody who is connected to me is going to benefit. That's my obligation. My obligation is to evolve. I ain't about doing good for people. I'm about doing right for people. Good and right is two different things, brothers. People will be sitting up here to do good all day long. Hey, I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna go ahead and just give you, I'm gonna give you some food. I'm gonna give you some food here. Put food on your plate. I'm gonna give you food. Just go ahead and eat. That's good for you, right? You able to eat and you're not hungry right then. You satisfied your hunger. I prefer to go ahead and show you how to go get food so you can go ahead and never be hungry ever again. That's doing right by you, brothers. I give you the tools so you could go ahead and fix your own life. I'm not coming in here to say, man, hey, brother, watch out. Stand to the side, and I'm about to go ahead and put your life back together for you. Because if it comes apart, you won't know how to put it back together, and you would have to wait for me to put it back together. That's not doing right by you.
It's like taking a shower without soap, isn't it?
Right! With my children, I'm giving them the tools. I'm not putting their lives together for them. I'm giving them the tools so then they will be able to put their lives together. I prepare my children, not protect my children, because in my mind, if I prepare my children, then they will be able to protect themselves. That's the difference between moms and dads, right? Because moms be like, protect my baby, but dads be like, I need to prepare my baby. I need to prepare my baby, because when I prepare my baby will be able to grow up and protect himself, because I'm not going to be there all of my baby's life, but I want him to have or her to have the information that they need to be able to protect themselves once they become adults. I want them to be self-sufficient.
Yes, sir.
I don't want them to have to wait for somebody to put their lives back together. I can slip up, I can fall off, but guess what? I got some ingredients that I already know how to cook it right back up. I'll be like, man, I'm right back to it though. Because it's what's up here. It's not about what we put in somebody's hands, right? It's what we put in their heads. So we're not focused on putting things in our children's hands. We are focused on putting information in our children's heads. Because if we put the right information in our children's heads, then they will be able to keep stuff in their hands. Game time. If we put it in their hands, then they coming right back to us, Dad. And it just doesn't make sense. If they come back to me every time that they drop the stuff that was in their hands, then what is going to happen to my resources? They are going to deplenish. Why? Because they are continuously going out. I don't want that type of life. Now I'm going to be angry because it's like, man, what the heck is going on with my resources? Man, my children continuing to come and deplenishing my resources. Because they have grown to be dependent on what I put in their hands. I want them to have that right stuff in their hands. And that's the type of father that I want to be. And that's how we started it when we was establishing a strong positive relationship. Remember, repetition is the mother of skill. So then that's why we go over the stuff again and again and again until it's locked in, right? So when we are talking about how do we establish that strong positive relationship with our children and how do we get it done, where do we start at? We start at what type of father that we want to deliver to our children, right? How important is that, fellas?
Very important.
Very important.
Why do you think it's important?
You don't want to give them any old father.
Right. If we don't like focus on what type of father that we are delivering to our children, what's the possibilities of how what things can happen if we make that decision and just say, man, I'm just gonna go ahead and do what I do.
Poor decisions.
Yeah, they most likely bad reaction.
They'll get some good stuff from us though, won't they? Because there's some good stuff in us. But what will they also get?
A lot of negative.
They'll get the negative because we're not conscious in what we are doing.
Right.
So we're not saying that they won't get some of the positive stuff, but they also will get some of the negative stuff that we already know to be negative because we have already experienced the negative. But because we don't look at it, guess what? It's going to automatically surface in our parenting. So then this is why it's so important to really look at what is positive, the positive interactions that we had with our parents when we were children, and then we intentionally duplicate that. And that's why we also identify the negative, right?
Yeah.
The negative interaction that we had with our parents, and then we resist that.
Resist it like a mother.
That's the work. I promise y'all, brothers, man, like you do that stuff, your relationship will begin to get stronger with your children. It has no choice because you are coming to your children with a certain level of focused energy that a positive relationship demands. And it will start to get positive. It will start to become stronger. Strong, positive relationships is paradise. Weak relationships are hell.
So I got a good one. Let me ask you this. So, and you guys probably all relate. So my girls are 34. I never said in my life, have I ever told them, thank you. Now their mom says it back and forth to them.
Right.
You guys can all, I understand all the situations, but I've never, ever, and if I ever said it to my dad in my day, I'd be picking myself up, but I understand how situations are now. I know how I was. I know how, I get that part. So I just don't talk to her no more. Just at that time. She can call me up, cuss me out, but, I just don't talk to her. Back in the day, I wouldn't want to just,
Right.
So I'm still struggling with that. My other daughter, me and my one, Brooke, we're pretty good. We're on a whole different level than my other ones. But I struggle with my other one because I'm on the phone and she wants to say that, or she'll text me like, Dad, good, and I just quit. I don't text her back.
Right, absolutely.
But, I still struggle on, what do I do? Am I doing the right thing by just not texting her back? Probably, yes. Then feeding it more, or, so what do I, I'm just asking, what do I do?
That's good though. That's good because you have identified that if you stay in conversation with her, you're gonna get right into it with her, right? Yeah. So then your best recourse is what? Is to say, man, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and let you cool down before I say some stuff that, my father has said, or that, man, stuff that I didn't like when I was a child. So you don't deliver her that which you don't want her to have. Right? So now you are intentional. You are in control of yourselves, brothers. Like, that's what it is. Like, we are in control of ourselves. And people just don't understand that, right? Because if I say, man, I'm going to stand. If I say, man, you know what? Carlos, sit down. Carlos, stand up. Who is making me sit down? Who is making me stand up?
You are. Nobody else.
So we got to take control of our lives. And that's why it's so important that our minds be strong so we can take control of our lives. But that's why it's important to know what you want to do and what you want your children to have, because when you are put in that position to give them something that you don't want them to have, you are able to resist that and say, you know what, I'm not giving you that.
until this day, man. I'm 60. They're 34. I've never, ever, ever, ever said.
And that comes from a level of focus. So now what we do, brother, is like we just continue to increase that focus, right? We just continue because we are never all the way there, right? We all got work to do, right? Like nobody has arrived. I'm just going to be honest with y'all. Nobody has arrived. If anybody in here thinks they have arrived, I'm just going to let you know you haven't, right? I hate to burst your bubble. Nobody has arrived on this earth, period. Nobody is perfect on this earth's surface, right? So because of that, that means that we got to continuously do work, right? We got to continuously improve, man, and be obsessed with improvement. I got to improve. I got to get better. I got to get better. And that's how we get better. So we focus on what? We identify the negative and we make sure that we resist the negative and make sure that our children don't get that same negatives that we had gotten when we were children. I remember when I was talking about yesterday, I didn't like it when, my parents, man, their words fell through the cracks and they said they was going to do something, and they didn't get it done. If my mom said, man, I'm going to do this, I'm going to send that, and because she locked up, she just said what she wanted to say because she wanted me to feel good, but I really did believe that she was going to send it, right? That made me feel a certain type of way. So now as a father, when I say something, I mean that. My daughter, I dropped her off at her mother's house yesterday. I'm talking about this is everyday stuff. This stuff happens with me, man. Like I dropped my daughter off at her mother's house and I had got her a calendar when I'm working down in child support. They got these little fun calendars and stuff for the kids with stickers and stuff on them that you can go ahead and place them on the calendar. It says Mom Week and Dad Week and stuff like that, and extracurricular activities, no school and stuff like that. So she was real excited about the calendar that I got her. Well, it was left at the house, and I told her, I said, man, I'm going to bring the calendar after I leave class today, right? I'm gonna drop it off to, back to her mom's house with her, right? And when I came over there, she's like, man, where the calendar at? I came over there yesterday, right? She's like, where the calendar at? I say, man, dang, man, I told you I'm gonna bring it tomorrow, right? But now I left out the house and I forgot to put the calendar in the dang old car. So what do I gotta do, fellas? I gotta go back to the house, get this little calendar.
I know that's right.
Do I feel like it?
No.
Heck no, I don't feel like it.
But your word is your word.
It don't matter what I feel.
There you go.
She know that I told her I was going to bring the calendar after I leave class. That means that I'm leaving here and I got to go to Children's Services and teach a class at Children's Services, and then I'm going to leave Children's Services, drive back to Columbus, right? I got to skate past her house, go all the way to far east, Pickerington, right? And then I got to come all the way back.
I'm from Circleville.
Hey.
I don't want to do it. I don't feel like doing it. I'm just going to be honest with y'all, brothers.
Yes,
For a calendar? For a calendar? But I told her.
Yep.
And again, me understanding what type of father that I want to deliver to my children, I want to be that father that when I say something, they can count on it, right? My word does not fall through the cracks. So when dad says, they know dad is going to follow through. I just want to be a father of follow through. So because I want to be that father of follow through, I have no option but to go all the way back to the house, pick up this little calendar from her room and go ahead and take it back to her mother's house and say, here, daughter, here goes your dang on calendar.
Don't break a pinky promise. That's good. When we pinky promise, don't break it.
But see, that's the focus, brothers.
That's the focus, yeah.
That's the focus. Would it be easy for me to just go ahead and say, man, you know what, I'll just get it to her tomorrow?
Of course. Of course.
It would be easier to do that. But remember, when we do the easy,
You
Gotta deal with the hard later.
We got to deal with the hard later, because then it will start to translate to, man, Dad's saying he gonna do it, he ain't gonna do it. I can't count on Dad, because it won't be no isolate. One thing that I've realized, that it gets more easier to do the easy. Like when you neglect, it gets more easier to neglect, right? It gets more easier to neglect. First time you neglect, first time you say, man, I'm not gonna come to the play, first time you say that you're not going to come to the football game, it might be a little bit difficult for you, right? But the more times you do it, the easier it gets to do. It just does. The first time you did it, you're like, dang, man, I feel kind of messed up, right? I ain't going to the game, and I said I was going to come to the game. I ain't go to the play, and I said I was going to go to the play, right? But the more that you do it, the easier it gets. And you're going to be like, man, you know what? Hey, man, you ain't even thinking about it. Now you ain't even pulling no type of way now, right? You're like, hey, it is what it is, man. I got other stuff I got to do. So I don't want to get into that habit of my word falling through the cracks. So then that's why I protect it. But only reason why I can protect it is because I'm focused on what type of father that I want my children to have. If I wasn't focused on what type of father that I want my children to have, then guess what? I will give them a father that I don't want them to have, because that is what takes over. The father that you don't want them to have will take over when you don't fight to give them the father that you want them to have. This is fighting for fatherhood, brothers. One-on-one. So that's how we get it done. So then that's what I want to challenge you brothers on, is next Thursday, I want y'all to come with the positives and the negatives written down. Y'all ain't know it's going to be the word. Yeah, this is the word. Yeah. I want y'all brothers to write this down and bring it to class. Can y'all commit to that?
Yeah.
Commit to that.
Yes.
All right, brothers. I'm looking at each one of y'all in your pupils. Commit to that, brother.
Yeah.
Commit to that, brother.
Yes.
Commit to that, brother.
Yes, sir.
Commit to that, brother. Commit to that, brother. Commit to that, brother.
Yes, sir.
All right, there it is then. We locked in. Now I'm gonna be coming back to class on Thursday and be expecting, right? Like I'm gonna be like, brother, where that paper at? Where the positive interaction that you had with your parents when you were younger, and where the negative interaction that you had with your parents when you were younger. And then this is what we're gonna focus on in building that father that we want to deliver to our children. So then that's our homework that we're gonna have for the next class. All right?
Yeah.
Good, cool. So now after we understand what type of father that we want to deliver to our children, the next thing that we must do is understanding what type of adult that we want our children to become, right? So we want to make sure that we establish some goals for our children. How many of us grew up in a household with goals? I know I did, right? And if it's no goals for you, then where you going to end up, man? If don't nobody have no designed destination for you, then where's your destination going to be?
No.
Oh my gosh, ain't that crazy? I don't want to just have an undesigned destination, man. I want to be able to design my own destination. Let alone, I don't want my children to not have a designed destination.
That's right.
Because if we don't take the time to design our children's destination, it is systems and people out there that will design our children's destination for us. They build prisons based on a fourth grader's reading level. Because they say if you struggle in reading in the fourth grade, then the likelihood of you dropping out of school are high, and you are going to drop out of school, and once you drop out of school, your options will become limited, and you will get into the streets, you will commit crimes, and you'll get incarcerated. So then that's why they say that we are going to build prisons based on the fourth grader's reading level. You see how somebody is designing a destination? Because prison is a business. This stuff is on the stock market. It's a business. Anything that makes a profit, you can best believe people are looking at it. People are investing into it, right? Anything that makes a profit. And the only way that a prison can survive is if it's people inside of it to make it go. And the only way that people can be inside of it to make it go is if the mind is the way that it is to populate it. So So that's why we want to make sure that we set up our children in the right way. So that's why we want to have the goals set for our children. When we're thinking about the goals, what do we base it on, fellas? Do we base it on the character or the profession that we want them to become?
The character.
The character. Because if I base it on the profession, right, what can that do? Will they be successful?
Nope.
That's something you want them to be.
So you saying if they was making millions and billions and millions and billions of dollars as a businessman or a businesswoman, they wouldn't be successful automatically?
Might not be happy.
No, they self-fulfilled.
So you mean to tell me making all of that money ain't gonna make them happy?
No.
They're not going to feel successful? But they are so good at it though.
It wasn't what they was destined to be.
Wow. So what matters is making sure that we raise our children to become who they were designed to be, what's inside of them. Because when they tap into what's inside of them, then whatever they are doing, they are going to be successful.
Always be your best.
No doubt. Just because they can do it well don't mean that they will value that profession. That's why you see the Josh Gordons of the world. He can go ahead and play football like none other. He can catch the ball, he fast, he big, but guess what? He always squander his opportunity because to him, it's not really an opportunity. Because maybe that's not what he was designed to do. And that's why he's so willing to put it up for auction. I'll go ahead and get high. People be like, man, how the heck this brother can't stop getting high and forfeiting his opportunity to be a professional football player? He can't pass the urine test. Well, maybe because people always told him, man, look at your physical attributes, and this is what you can do with those physical attributes. And they always raised him to be something that they thought that he should be as far as what they would have been. And that's why when he's become that, he's saying, man, this is not really winning for me. I want my children to be successful as adults. So then that's why we make sure that we develop the right type of character. And when we're talking about the right type of character, we covered 5 different character traits that we believe that they should have. What are those 5 character traits?
Confident, not arrogant.
Confidence, right, no doubt. What's the next one?
Good decision making.
No, hold on.
I kind of got lost. I do the first one.
Confidence, right? And the reason why we want them to be confident is because we don't want them to be insecure. Because when they are insecure, then they are vulnerable. So we don't want them to be vulnerable to a society. When people see people out there insecure, then they will say, man, hey, you got to do this, this, and that to fit in. And then people will try to do this, this, and that to fit in, only to find out that they still don't fit in. And then somebody will change the narrative. You got to do this, this, and that now to fit in. And people like, well, I'm going to try to do this, this, and that to fit in. And it's like, dang, that still don't fit in, right? So we don't want our children to be adults who are insecure. We want to make sure that they are confident. We want to make sure that they are good decision makers, right? Because we don't live with our decisions. What do we live with, man?
Live with the consequences.
Oh my gosh. We live with those consequences. So we want our children to be that type of individual that invests all of their energy into understanding the consequences. What's the next one? Self-regulating, right? We want them to self-regulate. Regulate themselves. Understand what needs to be done. Get it done. What's the next one?
Individuals that bring value back to
That bring value back to the table. Absolutely right. We don't want our children to be that individual that's coming to the table talking about what you got, what you got, what you got. Every time you see them, they adults like, what you got, what you got, what you got. Can you hook me up? Can you hook me up? Right? Right. We want our children to be that individual that does what? Bring value back to the table. And what's the last one?
Do their best.
Do their best. Because if they do their best, what's going to happen? You're going to get your best results. Now, after we understand what is the goals that we have set for our children, how do we get those goals accomplished, fellas? Build on the positive, right? No, build on the positive. Build on the positive, and we encourage the behavior, right? Don't you encourage the behavior? When we see them exhibiting something that we have established as our goals, we encourage that behavior. So if we see our children doing their best, what do? We encourage that behavior so we can let them know, man, what it is that they have done, how it's benefiting that particular situation, how it's going to benefit them in the future. Yes, encouragement means to be specific. It's telling them exactly what they done, how it benefited the situation, how it's going to benefit them in the future. So we got to be aware. We got to say, man, you know what? These are my goals. I'm looking for my goals to be exhibited. And when my goals are being exhibited, I'm going to make sure that I encourage the behavior so then they can duplicate that, because they are going to look for different ways to do the same exact thing again. If I encourage the behavior of them doing their best, and that is who I want them to be, guess what they are going to do? They're going to look for different ways to do their best. Does that make sense?
Yes.
The same thing with self-regulating, right? My son, he gets on the bus on his own. It's been times when I've had to leave early because I had to go to like a crazy place far, right? And I had to leave at like 6 o'clock in the morning. This was when my son was in the 5th grade or something like that. And I would have to tell my son, I say, man, you know what? You're going to have to get yourself on the bus. It's me and him in the house. And he's like, man, okay, I got you. Regulating himself. So then that means he made sure that he left out the house in enough time to make sure that he caught the bus. Because if he missed the bus, then he would be stuck at the house because I'm not there to be able to take him to school. So he made sure that he got there, and he called me on his cell phone when he was getting on the bus. He's regulating himself. It all started back from when? That shower. Mm-hmm. I'm dead serious. It spills off into other things. Regulating himself. He comes straight home and cuts the grass. Why? Because he knows it needs to be cut. He knows that's his chore. I don't have to tell him to cut the grass. He already gets it done. He's regulating himself. He's looking for ways to duplicate it in different areas of his life. And as long as he continues to look for ways to regulate himself, then that's going to become a part of his character. You see how it just starts to become secondhand nature now? Now it just makes sense to him to say, man, I'm just going to regulate myself because that's what I like to do. It started off as him just trying to just impress me, right? It started off as there because he didn't know what he was. It was just like, man, I just want to do it again because I seen the dad got real hype, man, when I regulated myself. So he looks for different ways to say, watch this, Dad, I'm going to regulate myself again, right? So it started off as that. Now it's a part of his character. Does he fall here and there? Heck yeah. It takes 21 years to be 21 years old, right? So he's not going to be an adult at 12 years old. So he's going to have setbacks, right? He's going to have, man, going into the shower without using soap. He's going to have those setbacks. I'm okay with that. I'm patient with my child. I understand that he's going to have those setbacks. So I'm not going to be critical of his setbacks. But I look at it and I say, man, this brother, he getting it in. He getting it in. You know, his mom, she'd be like, man, you know what, man? This is crazy, you know? And she'd be like trying to put him on punishment. I say, man, hold up. Like, you trying to, man, do you see all of the stuff that this brother is doing at 12 years old? And I gotta, man, go to bat for the little fella. Like, man, this brother doing some stuff. Bringing value back to the table. This brother brings value back to the table. Mother's Day, this brother says, man, you know what? I'm going out with his friend. I kid you not, man. Like, I'm just telling y'all this stuff. Man, hey, he goes out with his friend, cuts the grass. Him and his friend make $120 cutting grass. Him and his friend take his mother and her and his friend's mother out to eat for Mother's Day.
Right.
She calls me and say, man, this brother done just, man, went out there, made money cutting grass.
Yeah.
And he said he gonna, and him and his friend is taking us out for Mother's Day. They all rode in the same car to go to dinner. Wow. This brother 12 years old. But that brother's focused on bringing value back to the table, because when he brings value, I tell him, like, I identify, I encourage the behavior and say, man, I see you, man, adding value, man, I see you adding value to the situation. I remember one time we was in the hospital, right? His mother was in the hospital because she has lupus. And we go to the hospital, go check her out, right? And with the lupus, it shuts down your immune system or whatever. It just gets to fighting. Your organs get to fighting and things like that, saying that your organs are under attack or something like that. And then what calms it down is that she has to get prednisone, right? And if it's really severe, then they're going to have to go ahead and put her on the IV with the prednisone to really calm it down. So sometimes they got to hold her overnight, right? So one time she had one of these flare-ups, the lupus flare-ups, and we go inside of the hospital. Me and my son, we in the hospital. His older brothers was at the house at the time. This was when they was teenagers, right? And we go in the hospital, and I'm like, man, what's going on? They was like, man, we're going to have to keep her overnight. Right? I'm like, jeez, okay, cool. So I tell my son, I say, man, I'm about to go ahead and take you back to the house. I'm going to drop you off with your older brothers, and I'm going to come back up here and just chill out with her for a little bit, man, so she ain't up here by herself, since they're going to admit her into the hospital overnight. Like, cool. He says, Dad, man, let me go ahead and go to the bathroom real quick. This was when he was about in like 4th, 5th grade, somewhere right there. He's like, let me go ahead and go to the bathroom real quick. I'm like, no doubt, I got you. I said, go ahead, son. You know, so he goes to the bathroom. The brother comes back, right? I didn't really notice what it was at that time, right? But he had actually looked at, you know, he made his way back to the dang home. He made his way back to the room because he knew how to get back, right? So I'm like, man, dope. So I just went on ahead and left. And once I leave, I'm about to get on 270 in Columbus, right? I'm about to get on 270. I'm about to go ahead and get to the house. And then I had just remembered, like, oh, man, I left my folder inside of her room. My folder had a check from a speaking engagement that I had just did with an institution. I say, man, dang, I got to go ahead and bust a U-turn because they're about to go ahead and move her upstairs. They're going to clean that room and my check will mess around and be gone. And I'm not about to sit up here and be going back and forth with the institution to get another check. So I said, man, let me get back to the dang on hospital, back to the emergency room. So I pull up to the emergency room, and when I got there, it was a long line at the admissions desk, from the admissions desk all the way to the door. And I'm like, nah, this stuff ain't happening. I say, man, I can't, this stuff can't go down like this, right? So I say, man, boom. So I say, forget that. I go around the line, and I just go through the doors. Boom. Go through the double doors, and when I go through the double doors, I'm like, man, boom, I'm about to get my check, you know? I'm about to get this check, right? And I look around, I'm like, man, this stuff look crazy than a mug. I didn't know where the heck the room was at. The stuff, all of them looked the same. I'm like, man, all of these rooms look the same, man. This stuff crazy. I don't know to go left or go right. Left look the same as right? And I'm terrible with directions. That means that I gotta take a GPS everywhere I go. No lie. I can leave out of here and I can come here and leave out of here and go the wrong way. If I'm just thinking, I'm like, it seemed like I went left, right? But it's really supposed to be right. So I'm terrible with directions. I'm in the emergency room like, oh man, my heart is pumping because I can't wait for the line to die down. I'm like, man, what I'm about to do? My son, he looks at me and he says, Dad. He says, man, you know Mom is in room 137, right? And I'm like, man, what the heck? He was like, Dad, when I went to the bathroom, I had to look at the room number so I can make it back, Dad. He regulated himself, right? But not only that, I'm like, man, wow. So now what is he doing? Which one of them goals is he exhibiting when he was able to provide me with the information on his mom's room number?
Brought value back to the table.
He brought value back to the table, and I took the advantage of that opportunity. It was an opportunity of a lifetime during the lifetime of the opportunity. That means that opportunities, they come, boom, and they go. But you got to be in the mindset to be able to capitalize on the opportunity when they present themselves.
Right.
So when I seen opportunity, now it wasn't even about the check no more, fellas. What was it about? It was about my son understanding that he is exhibiting one of my goals that I have for him, which is to bring value back to the table. So now I said, man, it's time for me to encourage the behavior because I want him to duplicate that again and again and again. I want him to be that type of individual that brings value back to the table. So instead of ignoring it or instead of just saying, good job, let's go and get the check, because that could have been tempting if I didn't know, but I teach this stuff and I live this stuff. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I got down on my knee like this. Looked at him eye to eye. Son, that's what I'm talking about, baby. Boom, did like this. Boom, did the high five. Like, man, son, man, you my teammate, right? Man, what you just did, man, you brought some value back to the table, man. What you bring to the table, what I bring to the table, man, we about to win a championship, man. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Like, now I'm going to be able to find my check, and I wouldn't have been able to find my check if you wouldn't have gave me that number to her room. Man, you regulating yourself and making sure that you found your own way back to the room, man, that was next level, son. That's good stuff. But because you did that, you was able to provide me that information, son. Now I'm going to be able to get that check, man. That's good stuff, man. You know, hey, so I told him exactly what he did, which was bring value back to the table. I told him how it benefited the situation, right? And then I told him how it's going to benefit him in the future. Son, man, when you continue to bring value back to the table, man, we're going to win a championship, man. I'm telling you, that's what it is, man. Like, you my teammate. If you look in my phone, it doesn't say Deshaun. It says my teammate. He's been my teammate. That's his nickname ever since then, my teammate. So now he's looking like this when I'm telling him that. And he's like, and then I gave him another high five, like, boom, right? He was like, yeah. That's what I do. You know, like, that's how he was feeling and the way that he was walking. Again, remember what I was talking about this, though? What am I doing? I'm increasing his confidence. You know, his head was going like, boop, 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 boop. He was like, that brother was floating. I'm like, that brother was like one of them Spike Lee movies when his feet wasn't even touching the ground, right? That brother was like, you know how Spike Lee's movies be there? He be every movie he got, they be just floating, right? They be like, hey. That brother was floating through the hallways in the hospital, man. Like, yeah, that's what I do. You know, I bring value back to the table, man. You know, I ain't no dead weight. That's how he coming at it with. Like, but it's his mind. That's his mind. So now, after that, guess what he was trying to do? Figure out ways to bring value back to the table. Because he liked the way that he felt when I encouraged the behavior. So now he said, hold up, man, you think that's it? I can do some more stuff. We'll be driving in the car and I'll have the father within paperwork, man, or whatever, and the windows is down, and then they get to flying over the car. Do you think he's in the backseat just chilling? Nah, the brother was in the backseat like this. Dad, slow down, I'm catching the paper. Slow down. So they don't fly out the window. The brother ain't sitting in the backseat like this. If he was, I'd be like, man, brother, I'm so sick and tired of you. Like, you ain't good for nothing. You ain't good for nothing. Can you help out? Like, brother, please. Like, and that's what makes the situation different, and it makes the environment better because he's looking for ways to help out. That stuff is powerful for me. But the reason why he's looking for ways to help out is because I took advantage of the opportunity when I seen it, but I also knew what I wanted to instill in him, what type of character trait that I wanted to instill in him so he can have it, so he can be successful as an adult. So I'm intentional what I'm doing. This stuff is crazy. People was in the dang old hospital emergency room in the lobby. They was looking at me like, man, this brother is just high energy. Like, this brother, what is this brother on? I'm like, yeah, son, like, that's what I'm talking about, right? And they like, man, what's up with this brother? But it didn't matter what they thought. Only thing that mattered is who I'm trying to develop. Like, I got a responsibility to take care of. I don't care about what everybody else is thinking. I just care about what I'm doing. Like, what everybody else is thinking is none of my business. Only business that I have is the development of my child. I want to make sure that he has these character traits that he needs to have. And if I got to get down on my knee and be like, son, boom, that's what I'm talking about. You my teammate. If I got to do that and take a minute out of the day to go ahead and encourage the behavior, encourage goals that I have set for him, then I'm going to do it. So often we get caught up by, I wonder what they thinking. They think this, man. I have no care about what you think, because that's none of my business. I'm not getting inside of your head, brothers. I gotta stay in my own head. You wasting time trying to get in other people's heads. You gonna go crazy trying to hop in other people's heads. Because when you hopping in other people's heads, who head you not in?
Yo.
Now your mind gonna be wandering all over the place. Because you're not even in your own head. You in other people's heads. But that's a decision. So that's what I did. But that stuff is next level. So that's how we accomplish these goals with our children, fellas. We encourage the behavior. But first thing that we got to do is we got to establish the goals. We got to say, this is what I'm going to do. Just like we said, this is the type of father that I'm going to be. This is the type of adult that I want my child to be. It starts there. When are you going to build the house? When it's done. In the mind. That means you draw up the blueprint and then you build the house. You complete it twice. Complete it in your mind, then you complete it in real life. So you should have an idea of the completed version of the father that you want to be. You should have an idea of the completed version of the adult that you want your children to become. You should have an idea so you can go ahead and start to sculpt it. But you cannot sculpt it if you have not put no thought into it. You end up any old way. You end up, man, out of shape because you haven't paid yourself that attention that you need to pay yourself. Wow. So, after understanding those two layers that we peel back to establish a strong, positive relationship, because that goes into establishing a strong, positive relationship, too, with our children. Why? Because ain't nothing better than having a leader knowing where they are going. So then now your child will look at you and say, you know where you taking me to. That will get them to look at you a certain type of way and say, not only are you taking your time to focus on how you interact with me, but you have also gave it some thought and taken your time on what you are doing to develop me. You have a plan for me. You are not just in my life, just like, we gonna go wherever we go. I hope we end up there. So that's how that also establishes a strong, positive relationship with our children. The next layer that we are peeling back to establish a strong, positive relationship with our children is
the art of listening.
The art of listening. Absolutely right. Nothing says that you are there for a person more than just to listen, right? How important is listening?
Very important.
Right? Because if I don't listen to you, what I cannot get from you?
Understanding.
Understanding. I can't understand you, brother, if I don't listen to you. If I don't understand you, is it likely that I will mishandle you? I'm going to mishandle you because I don't understand you. I'll go ahead and give you hot water when you have been looking for cold water, right? Because I don't have an understanding of you. I'm just going to give you what I think that you should have. Here, man, go ahead and take this hot water. And you sit up there like, man, I don't want no hot water. I want cold water. I just ran a mile. I'm not trying to make no tea.
No.
I don't want no coffee. I want cold water. But because I didn't listen to you, I don't have an understanding of you, so then therefore I'm going to mishandle you. And this is what creates the barriers between us and other individuals because of our neglect in listening to one another. The reason why it's conflict out there in the world is because people are not listening to each other. Nothing says that you are there for a person more than just to listen. So with our children, we must make sure that we are listening to establish that strong, positive relationship. Listening does not take money. What does it take? Time. Your focus, your attention, right?
Yes, sir.
So when I'm listening to you, that lets you know that what? I care about you. The reason why you know that I care about you because I'm trying to get an understanding of you. The only reason why I'm trying to get an understanding of you is because I don't want to mishandle you. If I didn't care about you, I wouldn't listen to you. Because it's like, I don't care. I'm not going to listen to you because I don't care about you. So I'm going to handle you however I want to handle you. The people who don't listen to you, that's the indicator of the people that you need to separate from. Because you can't make people listen to you. You can't make people care about you. Only thing that you can do is process the information. When people are not listening, you saying, okay, cool. I know that I'm going to end up being mishandled by you, and I don't want those type of results. I'm going to separate myself from you. Listening is important. So understanding how important listening is, how can we let our children or somebody know that we are listening? What are some things that we can do to let somebody know that we are listening?
Summarize what's being said.
Okay, no doubt. Got you. What's next? Facial expressions. What's that look like?
No doubt.
Empathetic facial expressions, right? Empathy means to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. Not sympathy to feel sorry for somebody, but to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. Empathize with somebody. So then that means that my facial expressions should have some empathy in my facial expressions. So then that means that if you saying something was exciting, how would my facial expressions look like when you gave me that information?
Eyebrows up. Oh.
How? How will they look?
I used to get
Like,
mad
wow.
and not listen. Yeah,
Like-
I used to get mad and not listen to him, man. I'm not listening. And I
Right.
learned to, all right, I got to listen to what you're saying. All right.
Heck yeah, man. Like,
Dad, you're not listening to me. Right?
because nothing says that you are there for a person more than just to listen.
Okay, you're right.
Right.
I wasn't listening. Okay, let me listen.
Right. I got caught up, man. I get caught up like that right now.
Yeah.
My daughter would be going on, and I'll be like, she'd be like, and I'll be trying to go through the, I'll go through the motions and giving her all of this stuff that I teach, right? Like, empathetic facial expressions, but I'm really not paying attention, and she knows it because she says that. Hold on, those facial expressions don't match what the heck I'm saying. She's like, do you know what I said? And I said, man, dang, but you just talk so doggone much, man, but it's crazy, This is the work that has to be put in.
From a man or a boy, you don't think, and you got, wait a minute.
I'm telling you, man, like, it's no joke to listen to somebody. I'm telling you, it's no joke. Like, just to give people your undivided attention, right? That stuff is no joke, so you gotta practice it, right? So one thing that we do the eye contact, right? Don't that let people know that you're there, right? Empathetic facial expressions. What about nodding the head?
Yeah.
Yes.
If you talking to somebody like, yeah, no doubt, you know that somebody is there.
Nod don't mean listening, though.
Right, no doubt, absolutely. Because I got caught up like that. That's what I said. I was doing all of this stuff. And she said, hold up, Joker. I know you ain't really listening. But when somebody does that, though, you still are more confident that they are listening than if they were not doing that. So this is the feedback that we can give. This is where we start at, right? Is to let them know that we are present and give them the confidence to continue to talk. Because when somebody is giving you eye contact, when somebody is summarizing what's being said, right?
Right.
Like, so if I summarize what you're saying, and that's saying to you that I had to, listen to what you're saying because I can summarize what you're saying.
Yeah, sure.
Right? That lets you know that I'm engaged. What about if I name what you might be feeling? Oh, man, you must have been excited, right? No doubt I was excited, right? Before you say it, right? So if I name what you're feeling, now you know that I'm tapped in to the conversation because I can actually name what you are feeling. You like, man, yeah, you know that I'm there, and that gives you the confidence to continue to talk. The more that our children talk to us, the more that we get an understanding of our children. The stronger that the relationship will be, the more that our children will come to us in the toughest of times. So we want to be there for the small, menial conversations, so when the big conversations come, we done paid our dues.
Yeah.
I done been there for the small you can't be there for the big conversations if you're not there for the small conversations. Because they're not going to have no trust in you for the big conversations because you wasn't there for the small conversations. But the thing about it is that they were small to you. They were not small to them. They were big to them at that time. But you like, man, that's small because I got bills to pay. I got stuff I got to do. You know, I got to go to work. You know, I have no time to listen to your small talk. It's not small talk to them. This is big talk. But when it becomes big talk to us, they're not going to come to us with it because we didn't pay our dues, brothers. So we want to make sure that we are engaged to the conversation. Summarizing what's being said, eye contact, nodding the head, empathetic facial expressions, right? All of these things can, you know, let them know that we are there. Naming what they might be feeling. What are the things that can create the barriers in the communication process? What about taking over the conversation? Have you ever been like trying to talk to somebody and they just take over that doggone conversation? You like, man, I was coming to you with this stuff and you done took over the conversation. Do you know you just cut me off? I couldn't even finish what I came to you with. Yeah. You feel unfulfilled. You like, what the heck, I can't talk. You so excited about the conversation, you just took it over. That stuff is easy to do. I'm telling you, it's easy to take over the conversation when somebody is tapping into something that relates to you. You got to be disciplined to shut it down and be there. Listening is saying that you are there for them, not saying that I'm there for me. Listening says I am there for you, not I'm there for me. I'm not going to take over the conversation so you can hear about my day. Like you telling me about your day, I'm not going to take over the conversation and tell you about my day. I'm going to be here listening. I'm here for you. But so often, that human flesh of us be like, man, hold up, let me get a part of this stuff. Hold up, I'm going to tell you about what's going on with me. Remember, listening says that we are there for that person. So we don't want to take over the conversation. What about comparing?
Yeah.
Man, ain't no way I would have did that. Why you do that? Because when somebody says that, how you going to feel? When you came to them and gave them something and you say, and you talk to them about something and they come back at you with, man, why are you doing that? Ain't no way I would have did that. Well, guess what? I'm not you, and I'm not asking you what you would have done. I'm coming to you telling you what's going on with me. Just listen. Don't compare yourself to me. Don't compare me with other people.
Money call? Yeah,
She's right, no doubt. Money call. Money.
I think she said man's though.
Nah, it ain't 12 yet.
Okay. So yeah, but brothers, but that's important though. We want to make sure that we don't overtake the conversation. We want to make sure that we don't compare. What about like?
Don't give a solution unless you ask for it.
No doubt. Especially men, we have that issue. Somebody will come to us and telling us like what's going on, and we like, man, hold up, I got the solution to that. I can tell you how to fix that. And then the people will be mad at you that you told them how to fix something that they didn't ask you for that solution for.
Yes, sir.
Your girl will be talking to you and you be like, man, you know what, man, she'll come talking to you like, man, such and such, man, my girlfriend is messed up, man. She said I loaned her some money and she ain't paid me back that money yet. And then you come in and be like, see, you shouldn't be loaning her no money, man. I'm telling you, this is what you do. And you like, and she like, man, what the heck, man? Like, why are you talking to me about this stuff? Like, only thing that she wanted you to do was listen. But what you said is, no, I'm going to give you what's in my mind. I'm going to go ahead and tell you what to do. And then that creates conflict in the conversation. Why? Because you are giving her something that she hasn't asked for. I'm in the space now where I'm not giving them no solution unless they ask for it. And even when they do ask for it, I'm going to ask them, you sure you want that solution?
Yeah.
You sure you want my idea on that? Because when I come with it, I'm coming with it. It might not be something that you like. It's going to be what I think and what it is. That's what it is. You sure you want it, but I'm not going to offer you something that you are not asking for. when I am here, I'm just listening. Wow. Oh, you must have been frustrated. My girlfriend ain't paying me back yet. Oh, man, you must have been frustrated. Ooh. Wow. She ain't paid you back yet? Right, that's all I'm doing. I'm summarizing what's being said. I'm naming what she's feeling. I'm nodding my head. I'm giving her eye contact. I'm not giving her no type of solution. I'm just here. Listening says that you are there for a person. And she gonna leave from that conversation like, man, my people good in the mud, man. I love him, man. I can talk to him about anything. And that's what establishes that strong relationship. Straight up. Why do you think that people be doing life sentences and they be having people who've never met them out there on the streets, man, marry them in the joint? That person is on that phone like, wow, must be exciting. No doubt. I see. You must be frustrated. Click. Next thing you know, they at the chaplain. Hey, chaplain, man, let's go ahead and get us married. But you've never met him outside of the prison. That don't matter. He's there for me. He listens to me. Don't nobody else listen to me. Because it's hard to find people to truly just listen to you. You might go up here to the case manager and you telling her all of the stuff that's going on, and she's like, how you feel? You feel like stop talking. You feel like, man, I don't even want to continue to talk. The relationship is weak because you like, man, I'm talking and you're not listening. That means that you don't really care about my situation. You don't care about me. So why would I continue to talk to you about my situation when you're not listening? When I'm talking to you, you like this, you doing this, and you on your phone and stuff like that, and you
Everyone with that.
you telling me what I'm thinking, you telling me what I'm feeling,
Telling you what you need.
telling me what I need. Like, instead of asking me, instead of listening to me, you're going to go ahead and play God, and you're going to go ahead and get into my head and tell me what I'm thinking. You're going to tell me what I'm feeling. You're going to tell me what I need. Hey, the arrogance of humanity, right? This is crazy. People will come to you and be like, this is what you need. This is what you're thinking. Oh, you think this. Will you take the time to ask me what I'm thinking? Like, you can get that out of me. I'll tell you what I'm thinking. Just ask the question. People will be like, man, I'm not about to ask no questions. I'm about to just go ahead and come to a conclusion without your information. I don't need your information to come to a conclusion about you. Why? I'm going to come to a conclusion about you with my information. Because it's about me, the arrogance of humanity, man. And when you do that, that's going to weaken the relationship.
Yes, sir.
That's why we are given, what, 2 ears, 1 mouth.
Mm.
Our ability to listen and the discipline to listen to our children, it will put us in a place of power. Because then, when we listen to our children, what are we doing? We are giving our children the information to go out there into society, and what are they going to do in their relationships? They are going to learn how to listen, right? So they're going to listen in their relationships, so then they're going to have strong relationships too as well. And not only that, but they will be able to identify the people who ain't listening to them, and they will be able to separate from those people who are not listening to them because they understand that when you don't listen to me, you are going to mishandle me because you don't care about me. You've given them the tools. I don't want my children to think that it's normal to not be listened to. Nothing is like conversation, right? And the way that effective conversation can happen is when we listen to one another. But that takes a focus. So now that's going to be it. Is we're gonna be on point. When our children talking, we like this. And it's going to be small conversations, too. My son would come home and be like, man, I just won Green Day at school. I just want Green Day at school. I get to pass out the candy on Friday. I couldn't wait to pass out the candy. And when he's coming to me telling me about he just won Green Day, I'm like this, and I'm nodding my head like, Green Day? Wow, you must have been excited, right? And he's like, yeah, I was excited, man. I can't wait to pass out the candy, right? But I'm going through it. I'm there. He know I'm there because I have the ability to be able to summarize what he's saying. I have the ability to be able to identify what he is feeling. And because I can do that, he knows that I am engaged to the conversation. He's going to be confident in me with him. Nothing says that you are there for a person more than just to listen. We gotta listen. So now, fellas, on top of that, throughout this week too, just practice that. Just go around listening to people and see how much they're gonna say, right? Just give them that. They're gonna be like, man, this is something about this brother to change. I didn't have a listening ear before. Just go out here, go and let people talk and be like, wow, Green Day? Must be exciting. You gonna find them, they're gonna be hunting you down. They're gonna be like, brother, let me talk to you, brother. Like, hey, I ain't had nobody talk to me ever. Like, there ain't nobody listen to me ever. People lay on the couch and pay $180 an hour to be listened to. They don't pay $180 to get no type of prescription or anything like that, or get no type of solution from that person. That person just allows that person to talk, and that person just listens to him. The psychiatrist just listens to that individual and says, $180. He just goes to the couch. He says, you ready for your solution? Sit on that couch. And that brother lays on that couch and says, and just gets to talking. And after they done talking, how you feel? You know what? I just feel better. I feel like things are coming together. And they going out there to their friends and everybody else like, man, hey, man, I got a psychiatrist. He that real deal. Like, he done figured some stuff out about my life. Only thing that they've done is just listen. And they get paid $180. And they sit there like this, like, I see. I understand. I know you was excited.
All that.
Green Day? Wow. And that person is, this is crazy.
But it's true.
So we want to give our children that without having to pay $180. Right? We gonna just go ahead and hook them up, man. On the strength of establishing a strong, positive relationship. All right, fellas?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Next Thursday, man, we're gonna rock and roll.
Yes, sir.
It's 1 o'clock on next Thursday.
All right. Dear.
What I got next Thursday?
Movie night.
I got movie night. So next Thursday, but next Friday, I ain't gonna be able to be here next Friday. Oh, okay. I gotta do dating. Jeez.
Like going up to Dayton?
Yeah, I gotta do a graduation. I'm speaking at a graduation for the the early college academy. You know, the people who had to recover their credits and stuff like that. So, define the odds type stuff. So that's what I'm gonna speak on, define the odds, because they high school students come up in crazy environments and they still graduate. So just crazy, man. So then they dropped out of regular high school and then they get into this other high school, to where they recover their credits. So I'm gonna speak at their graduation.
That's right.
Turn the penitentiary on his head, stay in the community on his feet, man.
Right.
We working with students, we working with, man, everybody, man. Like, the prison will not get no more people, man, not on my watch. Like whatever it takes, man. Whatever it takes, man. So how y'all feel, man? Y'all feel good?
Man, great.
Good stuff, man. No doubt, man. No doubt, man. This is what it's about, fellas, man. This is how we get it done, man. Like, I appreciate y'all brothers, man. Man, being attentive, that's what feeds me, because if brothers is up in here like, I ain't trying to hear this, guess what? I can't do what I do. You know,
Right.
that's the worst thing that I can ever do is speak to dead people, man. Like, that stuff be crazy, man. Like, I let the dead bury the dead, brothers. I'm not even playing. I went into court one time, and because the judge, like, it's crazy. This stuff, I can't even make this stuff up if I wanted to, man. Like, but she allows me to, like, speak in the court, right, to fathers who say, man, you know what, I'm going to just go ahead and just go to jail instead of, you know, getting in alignment with child support, figuring out how to, you know, reduce your child support order and just figuring the stuff out. Like, at the end of the day, or working out with your child's mother, do something, but don't go to jail, right? You know, don't just go to jail. You know, so I was able to just speak in the courtroom, and I remember I went in there one time and spoke to these fathers, man, and they was up in there just gone, like literally dead. They was like, I'm like, you know what? I'm like, man, I'm sweating and everything, just like y'all see. And I'm like, man, when I left up out of there, I'm like, man, I ain't doing that again, man. Like, man, when they dead, man. Like, I let the dead bury the dead. I sat in my car at the parking meter because I still had like 15, 20 minutes left. I just sat in my car like this, inside of my car at the parking meter, like, man, what the heck just happened? Like, that's crazy, man. I brought everything I had, man. Like, I was giving them everything, man. 13th Amendment, Constitution, law of the land. Like, brother, you don't want to set yourself up like this, brother. You know, count time, because they ain't been incarcerated. So I'm like, man, brother, you know what this looks like that. It's like, I'm dead. Let me die. I'm like, man, just bury these jokers. I told the judge, just bury them, man. They done. They dead. They ain't been buried yet, man. Some people die at 25 and don't get buried until they 50. You know, but they've been dead, right? We don't die, man. That's what it is. All right, brothers. I'll see y'all next week.
All right.
All right.